Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Neil C. Hughes, and we're going to explore the fascinating intersection of technology and our daily lives. And today I've got an incredibly exciting episode lined up. Our guest is a dynamo in the tech world, a woman who's not only breaking boundaries, but also redefining the future. She is the Chief Operating Officer at Satoshi Lab, and also the creative force behind some of the most innovative applications in the Web3 space I've seen recently. One of them is STEPN, a pioneering move and earn app that rewards exercise with crypto, almost turning your daily jog into a treasure hunt. But they're also the brains behind GNT, the first AI-powered NFT generator that aims to democratize the digital art space. And hopefully, if we've got time, also a glimpse into the future of Web3 and the innovations that hold the potential to disrupt industries. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to London here in the UK, where today's guest is waiting to join me. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Lovely. Pleasure to be here, Neil. Hi, everyone. My name is Shiti, and I serve as Chief Operating Officer at STEPN. By degree, I'm an electronics engineer and MBA, and I worked across US, UK, Europe, India for the last 15 years, managing multi-million-dollar businesses, as well as founding my own AI-based fitness startup before I got into STEPN world.
Wow, AI fitness startup. I've got to go there. I mean, it sounds incredible. What put you on that path?
What put me on that path? That's an interesting question, right? So ever since the beginning of my career, I worked at this cross-section of bleeding edge technology, marketing, and small teams, right? So I started off at a time when digital marketing was just taking off. So even though I was working in big companies like PepsiCo, the digital marketing piece only comprised of 2%, which has now gone to 10%, 20%. I'm talking of the budgets of the size of $10 million annually, right? So even though 2% of that is big monies, but I was at a time when the digital screens out of home were taking off, when eyeball scanning was happening as a response to what you did to advertising and media, to move to 3D printing of food. So in cakes, how would you print your own food in 3D? So this cross-section of technology and building your own little team and accomplishing goals in a fast-paced environment got me hooked. So it was just a matter of time before I got the bug, before I wanted to do it all, but for myself. It was hard when I wanted to do that. My then boss wouldn't let me go. I was offered a counter raise and a very, very attractive proposition. And to be fair, I'm a human. I took that.
Yeah.
Stayed on for a year more till I finally just couldn't resist the bug. Like I was also testing myself, whether it was just a phase. The good thing was that it was coming from a positive place, right? So I was not frustrated with things around me, and I just wanted to see if I could do it for myself. So this was pre-COVID. I come from India, where I have seen 15 years ago, groceries happening online, fashion happening online, books happening online, things happening online, which people said would never happen online. Like people want to buy fruits, touch and feel fabric before you wear it. But everything did move online. So for me, it was a matter of time before workouts moved online. Right now, of course, now it seems so obvious in hindsight because COVID did that. However, what I was expecting to happen in 15 years actually ended up happening in 5 years, right? Thanks to COVID. But back then, it was very hard to explain to investors, to users, like, you know what? Position your camera like this, position your laptop like this, your phone like this, and just work out with. And people would laugh at me like, why would you do that? But anyway, I was very lucky with timing, fortunately, unfortunately. So using my background in engineering, we worked out basically 27 joints in human body, which could then using computer vision. Computer vision, just a fancy name for the lens on your laptop through which we are talking, right? We could map those joints and help you in remote workouts. Did that, got government funded and everything, exited. Then I was looking for my next break in a similar field. I found some problems with the existing technology, mainly related to privacy. For example, I worked in older adults groups, right? So that was one of the things that UK government funded us for. And that led me through the rabbit hole of blockchain, privacy, data, security, decentralized databases, especially with regards to edge computing and stuff.
Yeah, I'll say what an incredible story. I love how hearing the story behind it and how it all came together for you. And it's strange, isn't it? It's almost like the universe. I'm not a particularly spiritual guy, but having spoke to 2,500 people on here, it's like people go out there to create something. They have ideas, but the universe just naturally seems to point people in the right direction. And sometimes it feels like you get a little helping hand almost. It's certainly how I feel. Do you ever feel that way too?
I completely agree with that. And the worst or the best part is that in the moment you don't realize it, right? So in the moment when I was actually quitting my very well set and very well paying job to this completely different foreign land of AI startups, and where people were just rejecting me left, right, and center. In that moment, it feels very difficult. Yeah. In that moment, when you reach out to 100 people and you get rejected 100 times, no, feels very difficult. But yes, when the online workouts became the norm, and when this got accepted the way it did, you feel validated. You kind of feel validated. So yes, it's a matter of doing the right thing. What makes you feel happy? Like doing it for the right reasons, doing the right things for the right reason. And if you can persist with the right conviction, there is light at the end of the day.
100%. And fast forward to 2023 and find Satoshi Lab's STEPN platform is revolutionizing the fitness industry, but also by incentivizing exercise through crypto fuel rewards and NFTs. You had me straight away when I first read that. So can you explain how it all worked and the growth the application has experienced since its inception during COVID-19 there? Because again, fascinating story, isn't it?
Yes, would love to. And in fact, I would like to disentangle here a little bit on what FSL does and stand for, and then would double click on STEPN, which is one of our products and you're talking about.
Yeah.
So FSL is the parent company, and that stands for Find Satoshi Lab, Satoshi being the creator, inventor of Bitcoin. So Find Satoshi Lab, to give you a mental picture of that, imagine that as a solar system. With GMT, our governance token, being at the center, the heart of it, the sun that powers this ecosystem of products and apps, fun products that people really want to use, enjoyable products that people really want to play and interact with. So on one side, we have the consumer-facing apps, the user-facing apps in fitness, in social, in gaming. So our biggest product and app yet known is, of course, STEPN. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So STEPN covers the fitness and lifestyle space. Then we've got another product coming out in social space. And we've recently announced a new game called Gas Hero in the gaming space. Yes, that game will be launched later end of this year or early next year. That's still to be decided, but we've launched a big, massive user-generated design contest for it with 2 million GMT pool. And all the information is on our socials for that. So this is the front end, the consumer-facing part of that. On the back end part of this is our infrastructure side. So we've got our own decentralized exchange, which is called Door. It's number one on Solana chain, but also on BSC and Ethereum. Then we've got our own NFT launchpad and NFT marketplace, and that's called More. And that's also on Ethereum and Solana. So the idea is, just to wrap this up, that all of the value capture and accrual from this ecosystem of products and apps accrues back to GMT, which is the win-win for our users and for our community and for our business. So whether it's GMT mining in STEPN, whether it's GMT earnings in Gas Hero, whether it's liquidity fee on DEX, whether it's Vote and Mint on More, all of these products are intricately linked together as far as the users are concerned, as far as the economics are concerned. So that's the overall vision and mission of FSL, where we want to build these fun, enjoyable products. Now.
Yes, STEPN. Now we get into the exciting bit.
Yes. So STEPN is something that we launched about 1.5 years ago, exactly with this mission, exactly with the idea that people want to use fun apps. Mind you, not fun Web3 apps.
Yeah.
That's just technical jargon, right? Like today, we don't sit and wonder, oh, wow, what a wonderful technology electricity is.
Yeah.
While everything runs on electricity, this podcast, our health, our infrastructure, our education, our governments, everything. But the technology works best when it is in the background. The moment it is in foreground, that means we're still miles off. AI is one small example again, right? The technology's got to move in the background. With blockchain, that's inevitability, right? So we converted normal actions that people use in their normal lives in this app to distribute rewards on blockchain. So blockchain is not at the front and the center of it. It is just one of the enabling infrastructure. What is the front and center of it is a wonderful app that incentivizes and gamifies something that we as humans are not wired to do, which is exercise, right? We as humans are wired to sit back on a beach and soak in the sun, not run. We as humans are wired to sit back on the couch and watch TV, not read a book. So there are behaviors that our monkey mind is not wired to do. And therefore, we build stories, narratives, accounting systems, incentives to get us through the right things. With STEPN, essentially what you do is very simple. You download the app on iOS or Android App Store. You purchase an NFT sneaker. Now with Apple Pay, we recently integrated Apple Pay. Purchase the NFT sneaker, and using that sneaker, you walk, jog, or run, and then you earn cryptocurrencies. So it's as simple as that. And just like that, we launched that back in November of 2021. Within a matter of weeks, we got from test flight to Apple Store, which itself was a big win. Then we listed on Binance in about March, and we've never looked back since. So at its peak, we were about 1 million daily active users. We still have about 5 million total users, and our community is still thriving. All you need to do is look at our Twitter, you need to look at our socials, so our Twitter, Discord. At one point, we broke Discord servers. So we exceeded the maximum limits of how many people can be on Discord. So we had to open 3 servers. So our community is still thriving. They still hold us accountable, very much true to the nature of Web3 and decentralization on what we can do and can't do. And we just love it. And to honor them, we are still building in the space. So that's why we launched all these products in the last 1 year.
I love the idea behind it, especially in a world where unhealthy lifestyles are becoming more prevalent, and technology is blamed for keeping us addicted and sat down. We all sit down too much. I know I'm for one. I do like to run, but I enjoy it when I do it. But actually having something to kick me and get me out there, that is the hard part, that motivation. So I love how the gamified side of things of what you're doing here. So I've got to ask, for people listening, how does that concept of a digital sneaker represented by NFTs, what kind of feedback have you had on it being better at motivating individuals to adopt healthier habits compared to, let's say, those traditional physical incentives? Because it seems like you've hit upon something here.
So my previous experience in my own fitness business taught me one thing, which is that fitness businesses are driven by only one thing: results. You show people results and they keep coming back. Right? It's not just about having new users, because you promise people weight loss of 10 kilos and you will have 100 users sign up tomorrow. That's not a problem, right? The problem is after 2 months, how many of those 100 users are still with you? So balancing retention with high attrition, that is a bane of fitness space. Right. Now that we have established that results are important, how are the results going to happen? The results are only going to happen when there are either accountability systems or incentive systems. By that, I mean, for accountability, people go to either their Apple Watch quantified movement, or they have a gym trainer who holds them on their toes. By incentive systems, we mean carrot and stick method. It is this incentive system that hasn't come to technology space yet. So for accountability system, Apple has done great work with Apple Watch, Fitbit, all of the quantified movement. But with incentive systems, we haven't done much. And that is, again, because Web 2 is not geared towards incentivization, transparency, decentralization. This is where blockchain comes in, because rewards can be on blockchain in a transparent and decentralized manner that people can track. So what we did is we started incentivizing these people, giving cryptocurrencies for their workouts. All these cryptocurrencies, so all of this reward system would help build us into a habit. So for the first 6 to 8 weeks, this habit formation is really important till adrenaline can kick in, till it actually becomes part of your daily work life, till you actually can't do without your run, till you actually can't do without seeing your friends, seeing your group, seeing your social system that you built around this workout. I mean, our social feed is just full of people who have recovered from arthritis, who have gone from 80 kilos to 60 kilos, people who have gotten back, found their boyfriend or girlfriends, people who have gotten together with their families, with their social groups. So it's just delightful how this app influenced and impacted people, even beyond what we were expecting. I mean, there was a point, Neil, that there were events being organized by our community without our support, let alone our approval or anything, in different parts of the world, right? So from like UK in London to Miami, LA, to Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, to Philippines, Taiwan, Taipei, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, everywhere. Literally all parts of the world. And there are cities that are missing, and people had sprung up their own websites. And the most heartening part is when you went to these events, for the lack of a better word, I'm going to say this. It was not just crypto bros. It was their spouses. It was babies in push prams. It was their moms, dads. It was a wholesome experience where people were downloading crypto app for the first time, where people were purchasing NFTs for the first time, where people were setting up their wallet for the first time. So it's something to be really proud of.
I love what you've done here. And if we just take a break from the fitness side of things for a moment, you did mention a few moments ago that you also launched GNT, which is the first AI-powered NFT generator. So how does GNT empower creators and startups to create that unique digital art with AI and turn them into valuable NFTs, just for anyone listening? And what impact do you see this having on the art and creative industries out there? Because I imagine you've got a very passionate community. I'd love to hear some stories around that too.
Oh, wonderful. You've done your homework really well, Neil. Yes, indeed. We're very proud of this GNT. So like I explained, remember that mental model of solar system where you have got STEPN and Gas Hero on the front-facing, user-facing apps. Likewise, we've got Door, Dex, and more Marketplace and Launchpad on the back end. So when you go to more, that is where we've built GNT, which stands for Generative NFT Tool. Like you mentioned, it's a very simple but very powerful idea, which enables you, Neil, for example, you want to launch an NFT collection for your podcast today, right? Now you've got certain strengths, which is podcasting, rightly so, which is content creation, rightly so. But what about the on-chain deployment? What about the image creation? What about the NFT side of it? You need help on that. Yeah. So to empower these small creators with the NFT side of things, all you need to do is visit more.com, go to GNT tab, just like there, you type in your prompt, much as you would do in ChatGPT interface with text. Here, you would just type in your prompt, play around with the tool, refine the images, and just like that, you can deploy. We take care of all of the on-chain deployment part and minting it to NFT collection. So you go from an idea to an actual NFT collection in literally a matter of minutes. I'm exaggerating. Maybe the whole process takes up to an hour, but that's really it, right? Yeah. So that's the power of GNT.
Wow, incredibly cool. I'm going to have a little play with that at the end of our interview today. And of course, you also mentioned Gas Hero and massively multiplayer online game, MO. Sounds incredibly intriguing too. So can you offer a brief overview of the game and how that is also leveraging incentives like power, fame, and money to encourage social interaction amongst players? Again, big passionate community. There's a lot going on here.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. Our community is just so loving this. It's like they're literally coming back in throngs for Gas Hero, and we're absolutely loving this. So yes, Gas Hero is a RPG game set in apocalyptic universe where AI has taken over the world, and together with quantum computing, there's a lot of things going on. And our Gas Heroes here the gas refers to the inspiration from natural gas reservoirs and blah, blah, blah. There's so much of rich lore that people can find in our white papers, and people are loving it. And our gas hero come to save the world. So where we are right now is we are in the process of 3-month-long user-generated design contest, where essentially people get to design these gas heroes themselves, right? So true to the nature of Web3, a decentralized nature, where we want people to have a vote and say, not just in the game, but in the creation process of it, we want them to design these gas heroes. There is a 2 million GMT pool to be shared across these 3 months. Yes. So all you need to do is visit the Gas Hero Twitter for more alpha and more details on these contests. And these also, once again, you can use GNT to design these Gas Hero NFTs, right? So there is a separate contest going on more Twitter as well to help you enable design and then participate in Gas Hero contests. So there's too much excitement going on in the community. So yeah, we're very excited about this. The first step is to participate in this design contest. Once that gets over in October, November, we then get into pre-launch phase, and you can expect the game to be launched somewhere end of this year or early next year.
Wow, man, that's incredibly cool what you're doing here. And if we zoom out just for a moment, as CEO of Find Satoshi Lab, you oversee things like marketing and communications growth initiatives. And I've got to ask, how do you plan to leverage all of these initiatives to further drive adoption and engagement for STEPN, GNT, Gas Hero, and so many other projects in the pipeline within Find Satoshi Lab? How does it all fit together?
Yeah. I mean, the vision is very simple, that we're at the very early stage of Web3, where we need to simplify so many things. Firstly, we need to create products that work in Web3, right? And by products, I mean products. I don't mean just Discord communities. So the first thing is we're building rich UI-enabled products. So when you play STEPN, you don't feel like, oh, you're playing something, how do I say it without offending anybody, but something that is experimental in Web3. It feels like a fully finished game, regardless of Web3 and Web2. So the first point is build a rock solid product, regardless of Web2 or Web3. The second point, and really these are the only 2 points that matter, product and community. Build a solid community around what you're creating. Really listen to them very closely. Iterate with their feedback. Constantly refine the product direction on what community wants to tell you, what community wants. Not all the times they're right. Not all the times all the people are right. So this is where business acumen comes in on what do we select, what do we choose, which direction do we take, how do we keep our focus, how do we keep our agility as a small startup team in delivering what's the right value for our people. So the way these products are correlated or interconnected is through GMT, which enables all of these products, and all the users can reap benefits from each of the product systems. So for example, there is a badge holder system, which it then interconnects STEPN and Gas Hero. There is a raffle mint system, which connects More and STEPN. We recently did a very massive drop with Drip House, another one of Solana partners, where we gave out NFTs to about 450,000 wallets in a matter of hours. And that connects More and STEPN again. So all of these ecosystems all of these products in our ecosystem are interconnected in a way and in an intention to give back to the community. We don't do any fancy marketing. You'll never see any billboards or signages or conference sponsorships from us, but you will see some of the biggest airdrops that you would see in Web3, where we want to give back to the community.
And that's what's so refreshing about what you're doing here. I follow a lot of projects in this space, and it's very easy to get distracted by the technology and then paying some celebrity to promote that technology. But the fact that you're grounded in being just about product first, community, and this should be at the heart of everything, really. And I'm curious, we started this podcast when you were talking about your story, and you do have that extensive background in managing multi-million-dollar projects across various countries and industries. That experience in those diverse fields, how has that influenced your approach to leading and innovating in the blockchain and NFT space? Because there's so much talk about Web 2 versus Web 3, and you're someone that's been involved in both sides of this. I'm curious how your previous experience has helped you now.
Great question. I often think about it myself. I would say there are good and bad sides to both. There are differences and similarities to both. I'll talk first about similarities. Much like Web 2, in Web 3, all you're trying to do is acquire users, grow community, build great products, right? Once you've got that focus right, everything else falls in line. So here is where the differences come in. And they are huge. I do think they're huge. Everybody says marketing is marketing. It is connecting with users. You're just out solving for their time, money, and convenience. Yes, of course. But how do you solve that makes all the difference. In Web 2, I've signed off on millions of dollars of budgets. And sometimes you struggle to piece together the ROI on that. Sometimes you struggle to get real inputs from users on that. Yes, there are research agencies. Yes, there's a lot of technological innovation happening on those researches. But the way it gets done in Web3 is far more instant. You put out a marketing campaign, and in a matter of minutes, the community is responding nowhere else on your own Twitter. They are directly telling you in the words they will never ever mince on what is right, what is wrong, what is effed up, what is not. So this kind of instant feedback loop makes your hair grow grayer much faster.
Yeah.
Well, jokes apart, this is a very strong feedback loop. And it works both ways, not just in users responding to you with what they think is right, or not just on Twitter, but also in Discord, also in games, but also in you connecting with them, right? So there are these three pillars of content, engagement, and alpha. And here, like, the role of influencers is sort of like old days now. I think, like paid shillers. Now, founding team, the primary founders and the main team can connect with the users in a way that wasn't possible before, right? There are no middlemen that are necessary. There is no need really for, well, I'll rephrase that. Earlier, you had to raise like $20 million to overcome marketing and cold start problems. Web3 gives you a very powerful tool to avoid that cold start problem being, without that chunk of money, how am I ever going to build in this space? Well, we didn't raise a significant amount of money, and we did end up building a startup that flipped Bitcoin and Ethereum on exchanges, right? So it is possible. I'm not for a second boasting about what we did. What I'm trying to say is that if you want to build in this space, even in a bear market, it is possible. And that's what I tell everybody, like, in this time, if there are people who are building in a bear market, just imagine what they're going to do in bull. NFA, DYOR, but as a general principle, look for the builders.
And it really is possible. And you're living proof of that with everything that you're doing here. And as the founder of your own AI startup, you have a significant expertise in the health and well-being domain right now, too. I've got to ask, how do you see that intersection of AI and blockchain technologies impacting the future of health and wellness? Is there anything that excites you there?
Great question. I think there is a lot that's going to happen in health. It's going to become very customized, very precision oriented, right? So right now we have pain, we take a general painkiller. We have some infection, we take a general antibiotic. It doesn't take into account our personal human variations. And each human is distinct, right? So all of this research that is happening on gut, so there will be precision medicine. The term for that is that. And to process all of this big data and customize it to your learning, AI will be used. I mean, big data exists. Essentially, it is all of the data. It is literally what the name says. It is big data. And then came machine learning, which started learning from this data, right? So today, companies have big data on Neil. They have learned that Neil likes, say, a sweet treat at 2 p.m.
You've got
right?
me.
After
it's
his
true.
meal. Indeed. Now comes AI, which is intelligence in this data and learning. So where, right, Neil likes the sugar treat at 2 p.m. However, his medical history is X, Y, Z, and the sugar treat is not recommended. It is, in fact, a piece of digestive biscuit, right? So I've oversimplified it, but there will be a process of putting intelligence in every interaction we do, not just on health front, on medicine front, but little chatbots front. Chatbots is nothing but AI, and they've existed for years now. Every interaction will get amplified and intelligent using AI for sure.
And if anyone listening would like to send me a sugary treat, please feel free to do so. But seriously, to finish our podcast today, you've got a background in electronics engineering and an MBA in marketing. You possess a unique blend of technical and business acumen. So if we were to put all that together, How are you leveraging this combination to drive innovation and growth at Find Satoshi Lab? And we will have a few people listening that are from your community. Maybe they're hoping for, I don't know, a teaser about what they can expect in the future. So I suppose I've got to ask, do you leverage that combination of skills to drive innovation and growth? And is there anything you can leave everyone listening from your community about what they can expect for the rest of the year?
Right. Perfect. So to the first part, I like to operate at this intersection of tech and people. I think these are the only two things that will matter in the world. Well, to be fair, not the only two things, but one of the two biggest things, right? If you've got a hang of technology in broad strokes, and you've got a hang of what makes people tick, either as your users or as your employees or as your partners or as your investors, that cuts it, right? Work on things that people need, even as startups, even as builders. And my skills enable me to help growing the business side of Find Satoshi. And when I say business, it means the business and marketing side, but also on the people side. As to alpha for the users, I would say head now to our Gas Hero Twitter. Look out for some announcements, some really exciting announcements that are on their way. We'll be wrapping up the phase 1 by August 9 and launching next phase by August 10, which is when they can expect the drop of the second edition of white paper with newer details. So not much time left, about a week or less, 6 days. So Gas Hero Twitter is the space to watch out for.
Wow, fantastic. And we have covered a lot in a short amount of time today, from your entire story, from your origin story to STEPN, GNT, Gas Hero. For anybody listening, wanting to find out more information, maybe wanting to join your community as well, because I know there's a huge welcoming community there, incredibly passionate about everything we've talked about today. Where would you point everyone listening to?
I would point them to FSL Twitter. It has links to all of our products that I just mentioned. Whichever product takes your fancy. If it's STEPN, go to STEPN Twitter. If it is More, go to More's Twitter. If it is Gas Hero, go to Gas Hero Twitter. Everything's out there and open. Check out what we're doing on our Twitter with our white papers website, then join the Discord community. So start with FSL Twitter, then go to each of the brands' Twitter, please.
Well, I'm certainly going to be checking out everything that you're doing here. I love what you're doing, and especially with the creation of STEPN there, that Web3 move and earn application. I need a bit of motivation to get me moving, so I'm going to be checking that out. I'll also check out our Gas Hero and the things we've talked about today. But more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to sit down with me, share your story, and also what we can expect in the future. Incredibly cool. But thank you for sharing that with me today.
Thank you, Neil.
Wow, what an insightful conversation. I loved hearing the guest thoughts there on Web3, crypto-fueled rewards, AI-generated NFTs, and so much more. And we did cover a lot of ground today, from understanding the benefits of digital incentives for physical activities, to exploring the innovative and profiting projects within the Web3 space. And I think it was her knowledge and experience really provided me with a unique lens to view this rapidly evolving digital world. And it's clear, isn't it, that we're on the brink of some truly remarkable technological breakthroughs right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything we talked about today and the future of technology, how it's transforming every facet of our lives. If we've got any passionate community members that would like to join me on the podcast, maybe you've got a question you'd like to ask, whatever it is, email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com. You can get me on social channels, just at Neil C. Hughes. Wherever you hang out, you should find me nice and easily there. But that's it for today's episode. A big thank you for listening today, and until next time, don't be a stranger.